Iran responds swiftly with force, escalating tensions after the US seizure of its vessel. Iranian forces strike back with drones targeting American naval assets in a rapid retaliation. The vessel was disabled by gunfire before US troops boarded and took control. Tehran denounces the action as unlawful aggression just as the fragile truce nears expiry. The escalation raises serious concerns over collapsing diplomacy and a potential return to open conflict. Iran has accused the United States of violating the ceasefire after attacking its cargo vessel in the Gulf of Oman. On April 19th, US forces reportedly fired on the ship, disabling its engine before boarding and seizing it. President Donald Trump later confirmed the seizure, saying the vessel was under US sanctions. In response, Iranian media said drone attacks were launched targeting US warships operating nearby. Iranian officials described the strikes as direct retaliation for what they called a US act of aggression. Iran strongly condemned the incident and warned that further retaliation against the US would follow. Ibrahim Zulfiqari said, and I quote, "The aggressor United States violated the ceasefire and committed maritime piracy by firing at an Iranian merchant ship in the waters of the Sea of Oman and landing a number of its terrorist marines on the deck of the vessel, disabling its navigation system. We warn that the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will soon respond to this armed piracy and retaliation by the US Army," unquote. The operation comes at a time of fragile ceasefire and growing uncertainty over ongoing diplomatic efforts. The US action also came just 2 days before the 2-week ceasefire with Iran was due to end. Meanwhile, Iran says it has no plans yet to attend the next round of talks in Pakistan. As the ceasefire moves closer to expiry, the US has seized an Iranian cargo ship, adding fresh tension to an already volatile situation at sea. President Donald Trump announced that the US military carried out the seizure of the Iranian vessel on April 19th. The US military also released footage showing Navy fire hitting the cargo ship while it was out at sea. According to reports, a US missile destroyer intercepted the ship as it allegedly attempted to head toward Iran. The Iran-flagged vessel was said to be traveling toward Bandar Abbas port when it was stopped, according to the US military. US officials say the ship ignored communications for more than 6 hours, which led forces to take action. The destroyer then reportedly ordered the crew to evacuate the engine room before opening fire to disable the vessel. Several shells from the warship's 5-inch Mk-45 gun struck the engine area, leaving the ship immobilized in the water. US troops later boarded the Iranian vessel and took control without meeting any further resistance. The ship is now in US custody following the operation, according to US Central Command. US officials say the vessel was taken into custody after it allegedly tried to break a US blockade on Iranian ports. Iran has strongly condemned the operation as armed piracy and theft, and has vowed retaliation over what it calls a violation of the truce. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "Today, an Iranian-flagged cargo ship named Touska, nearly 900 feet long and weighing almost as much as an aircraft carrier, tried to get past our naval blockade, and it did not go well for them." The US Navy guided missile destroyer USS Spruance intercepted the Touska in the Gulf of Oman, and gave it a fair warning to stop. The Iranian crew refused to listen, so our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engineer room. Right now, US Marines have custody of the vessel. The Touska is under US Treasury sanctions because of its prior history of illegal activity. We have full custody of the ship, and are seeing what's on board. Mojtaba's most trusted military forces and Iraq's diplomatic camp are now colliding in a high-stakes power struggle over who really speaks for Iran in the Hormuz crisis. On April 17th, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi posted that the Strait of Hormuz was completely open to commercial traffic, in the middle of delicate ceasefire and nuclear talks. The message was widely seen as a signal of flexibility toward Washington, time to show goodwill as the ceasefire clock ticked down and negotiators weighed next steps. Donald Trump quickly praised the reopening, using it to hint that a broader deal with Tehran might be close and sending global markets a brief shot of optimism. But just hours later, IRGC Navy broadcasts told ships that Hormuz remained closed, warning captains they still needed explicit Iranian permission before entering the strait. One voice on the open radio said, "We will open it by order of Imam Khamenei, not tweets of some idiot," a stinging rebuke clearly aimed at Iraq's announcement. The IRGC-linked Tasnim news agency then blasted the foreign ministry, calling Iraq's tweet bad and incomplete and urging officials to reconsider this communication. Hardline lawmaker Morteza Mahmoudi publicly demanded Iraq's removal, accusing him of gifting lower oil prices to Trump by easing market fears too soon. Mahmoudi argued that by announcing Hormuz open, the foreign minister had eased pressure on Washington and undercut one of Iran's strongest bargaining chips. Reports say the IRGC was furious that Iraqi never coordinated the reopening message with military commanders, seeing it as both a procedural breach and a political misstep.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.